Anywho, let's go. So Miriam asked for people that wanted to hear people's business stories and, you know, why we got to where we were and how we decided to do what we did and living all of the life and doing all of the businessing. So my story doesn't start in the office, which is around me right now, but my story starts in a little country town called Yarrawonga, with the other town called Mulwala over the side of the river. And I grew up and I was always a little bit different. And, you know, we all have our pains and our sadnesses and our things growing up. And even amidst all of the bullying and the upsets and the not fitting in, I was always recognized as a leader. And this was something that followed me through both primary school and high school and shows up now really powerfully in my life, which when we talk about mission and purpose around what it is that I do, this little part of the conversation will make more sense. But growing up in a country town and feeling a little bit different, I didn't actually end up finishing high school. I left at the end of year 11 because I was pretty messed up. I was quite depressed, had a lot of trauma and stuff, and didn't really process it very well. And it wasn't until I was 16, 17 that I just really discovered a passion for performing and theatre and dancing. So I dropped out of school at the end of year 11 and got a full-time job so I could be a competitive ballroom and Latin dancer. As you do, right? What's this got to do with business? I'm getting to the point, trust me. And so there I was. I left school. I was working full-time. I was dancing, and I ended up moving to Melbourne. And I fell into a retail career. Now, growing up the way that I did and spending a lot of time on the outside and on the fringes of circles of friendship groups, having a best friend for a little while, but then getting ditched for the other person to have a new best friend, I spent a lot of time by myself. And I immersed myself into books and reading. And in those moments, I really got to understand and experience the best of people and the worst of people. And while I can come across as a really tough cookie online, I am a little bit of a marshmallow inside, and I really got to see all of people, and I really developed empathy. And now going through a retail career and being able to support customers that weren't happy, support teams, develop people, I've always been able to see something inside of people that most of the time they haven't quite recognized yet. They haven't quite been able to see within themselves their own unique talents or abilities, or to give themselves permission to truly express all of those things that they secretly want. So I am a very values-driven person. Life has taught me that. It's been the thing that I've been able to hang on to when all the shit was going down and, you know, when things weren't great. And we all have those moments, right? So I'm not saying in that regard that, you know, I'm so special, I'm the only one that's had sad shit. But for me, this is how it's developed me into the person I am today. So a lot of mental health challenges in my 20s, and was still working, still had the integrity, still, except for probably about 6 months of my working career, was still turning up to work and doing a really good job. And somehow in there, people were still identifying that I was a leader and that I could lead teams and I could support people. And there was something that I did that brought teams together to allow them to grow and thrive. So I progressed my way up the retail career and hit burnout, which I think is a story that a lot of people will resonate with when it goes from corporate, burnout, starting their own business. Now, I ended up, my first business was actually working with teenagers. And anyone who works with in that parenting, teenage child coaching area knows that it's a pretty tough gig. Not because working with kids and teenagers is hard. Working with teenagers is awesome because they are so upfront. But when you're selling to the person who's not the end user of the product, that has a very unique set of challenges in business. So I ran a business called the Dream Initiative. And interestingly enough, that business was originally set up to work with adults. I was doing youth work with a couple of other people. Cut a long story short, I got some great lessons about trust, about protecting your intellectual property, and not allowing yourself to always be emotionally driven by the purpose of a business when it's pretty clear, even though you don't want to admit it, that the people around you don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. And so that evolved. So I did that for 5 years. The relationships changed, and working with teenagers, it was a huge part of healing my own childhood wounds. Healing that little inner child that, you know, never got to perform, never got the dance lessons, because my business was all live events, experiential learning. We created all our own games, all our own processes, and I still have crates of costumes in my garage, which I still can't quite let go of. But that was huge because that satisfied a need in me to be theatrical and expressive and perform. So when that business stopped, it left a gap, and it was what am I going to do with myself now? Because I have a huge amount of skills, you know, education and learning, and I think maybe because I had a little bit of imposter syndrome for a while, that I didn't finish year 12, I didn't go to university, don't have a degree. So it really drove me to keep learning. But, you know, for those of you that follow my work, all the work that I do with shadow values and golden values, I've really learned to, you know, let that shit go, because it's shit, because I've done a whole heap of other learning, so I'm good. And became a content and course creator specialist, because nothing drives me more insane than people selling shittily designed courses. So that's where I went to there. So burnout made me start my business. People not doing the right thing by me encouraged me to set up my business, even though that really, really evolved. And this is what I love about business. Some people start their business and they just know what it is and they just go for it. Other people, like me, and I reckon there's probably a few other people out there, you have some iterations of business. It kind of rolls out, you test a few things, you do it for a while, and you know, you measure it and you see how you feel about it, and does it feel good? And you know, one of the questions that Miriam asked us to answer was, you know, our passion and our mission and what drives us. And so here I am in this really unique space, and that's why I was so honored to be able to share this, that people were interested, because ultimately my mission and my purpose, I'm here to serve. I am here to support people to step into their greatness, to find ways to express their own uniqueness, their joy, and to live a life unfettered from the rules and the past stories and the patterns and all of the shit that, you know, that holds us back, that's, you know, that's not actually real. Because I shared a post recently that, you know, I had a farmer's daughter say to me once, you know, I only won a particular scholarship because I was the charity kid, because, you know, my mum was a single mum, and back in those days that was a bit taboo, and we didn't have a lot of money. And I carried that for years. But that's not true anymore. That's an old pattern and belief. And, you know, those old patterns and belief drove me at one point to self-harm, to not want to live. And so from a mission and a purpose perspective, I'm here to support women to live a life that they absolutely love and they fully embrace. And it doesn't have to be they have $1 million business. It doesn't have to be that they support 20 million women across the globe. It could be that they help people in their community, whatever it looks like to them. And so I'm in this really interesting space where it's evolving, because I run this Chick Means Business, and that's very business strategy with me doing the high-end mentoring side of that. And that's got some good stuff coming up for next year as well. But for me personally, what really lights me up is just seeing people thrive and seeing them shine. And now I say women, I do have some awesome male clients as well. So that's my mission and purpose. I'm here to serve, because for me, that makes my life make sense. That makes the pain, the heartache, and the trauma make sense. And I've been sharing about my God trauma and healing the masculine and healing those relationships from the past. So this is part of what I do. And somebody said, somebody asked me a question, the gorgeous Bethany, and I've got it on the screen below. What would you say is the biggest time you've turned or alchemized a negative moment and turned it into your greatest strength or ability to lead others? And I think the fact that I am still here with everything that I've experienced and I've gone through, the times that I've hit rock bottom and the times that I've looked up and I've said, I can't take any more. The fact that I'm still here, the fact that I feel whole and I feel strong and I am ready to lead and I'm here to serve. I think being here right now is the manifestation and the demonstration of my strength and my ability to lead. Now I run group programs, I do one-on-one. I'm sitting down with my operations manager on Friday and we're going to be mapping out the year. And so Miriam said, post a freebie or a blog or something. So I'm going to invite people to add me as a friend on Facebook if you're watching this in the group and we're not Facebook friends. If you're watching on my personal page and we are friends, reach out, ask questions. I know the pain of being alone, and I know the stress of being in business and feeling like you, for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, we think we should know everything and all of the things. So reach out, add me as a Facebook friend. If you want to follow my business page, go and have a look for this Chick Means Business. If you want to follow my personal business page, which is just Trudy Pavlovsky, I share a lot about my coaching stuff on there and the one-on-one stuff. And I just put actually a hell of a lot of funny shit on there as well, just because why not? But I think that's really important, that we all know that we are all okay. And if you don't feel you have that container for yourself yet, whether it's someone else, whether it's me, whoever it is, find the container, that bigger container for you to stretch and grow into. And just know that you are always, always loved. And it's been a journey of almost 45 years for me to get to this point. I've evolved massively. I've walked away from about 80% of the Facebook groups I was in. I'm here and I'm ready to go large, because my purpose and my mission to serve, support, empower, and uplift those around me, it's bigger than any fear or ego that I might have. So live an inspired life, people. Follow your heart. Tap into whatever that magic is. And if you need help with that, always here to have a chat. So thank you for joining my live. Thanks for watching it. We got told we had to keep it to 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes. So I've kept it to 15, which I think is pretty good. I'm going to sign off on my personal page now. So thanks, peeps. Mwah. I got lipstick on my teeth. No, I think I just put lipstick on there. I would love your comments. I'd love your thoughts. I'd love you to share your stories in the comments. and if I can help in any way. But ending on my personal page now,